Hello, welcome. This is the Newspaper Review, and my name is Williams Abule. If this is the first time you're seeing this video, this is where we bring you the headlines across newspapers around Nigeria. We get to read out these headlines to you, and of course, we get to discuss what the headlines are saying here on the program. And to do that with me this morning is Mr. Victor Sioku. You are welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, Mr. Victor is our current affairs analyst here on Tap TV, and we are going to be doing the headlines together. You can also be a part of it by, first of all, subscribing to this channel. That is if you're just seeing this video for the first time, or you've been coming to watch these videos without subscribing. Please, we would love you to subscribe and be a part of this family. We have other interesting programs here also on Tap TV, so you want to, scroll down and check out our programs here. But for today, we'd love you to subscribe. Stay connected on all other platforms. On Facebook, we're at Tap TV. On Instagram, it's Tap TV_NG. And on Twitter, it's at Tap TV. So stay connected to us on all of this platform. All right, I'd love to go straight to the headlines for today, the 24th day of August 2022. Yes, the year is fast running out, and a lot of things are already happening. We're just a few months away to the general elections. Hope you have your PVC. Yes, I always want to poke all of you out there to ensure that you're ready to, cause that effective change that we all hope for this our great nation. All right, we'll begin today's newspaper reading from This Day newspaper. And on This Day, from the top part of that paper, it says, Zenith Bank powers on with double-digit top-line growth in first half of 2022. All right, and moving downwards, we see the federal government, U.S., sign agreement on repatriation of $23 million Abacha loot. Wow. Sir Victor, the money is still out there.
It cannot finish.
It cannot finish.
Not within our generation.
You can imagine.
Maybe the next 2-3 generations.
You will see that they have, collected some. You think this is huge. This must be the rest of the money. And then you hear things like this, $23 million. That's a lot of money coming in from the Abacha loot again. Well, you find details of that story on page 34 of This Day newspaper. Also, just right under that, we see Lamido. No one has offended Wike. No basis for reconciliation. Says being governor doesn't give him monopoly over Rivers State. Atiku, Rivers governor, to meet in Paris. And amid rumor, the latter is flirting with Tinubu. Right. That's a very, very interesting headline there. You need to get details of that. Please pick up a copy of This Day newspaper. And as the major headline here on This Day, we see INEC, electoral process incomplete without offences commission. Back bill seeking establishment of electoral court. Ask AGF to stay clear. Says it secured 60 convictions in 125 cases from 2015 elections. EFCC rejects bill as PLAC requests reduced penalty for ballot snatching. But Biamila, electoral crimes help riggers take control of governments. All right, so that's all the headline here on This Day newspaper. So, Mr. Victor, let me come to you. Let's take on the story of Mr. Lamido lashing out on Wike, saying that no one has offended Wike, no basis for reconciliation. I always love to, go back to this Wike story because it is yet unresolved. And for me, I feel that the PDP are somewhat playing with fire that may not really go down well with them. What's your opinion?
Okay, we cannot overemphasize the fact that Wike feels betrayed. Okay, so whatever that is coming from Lamido's mouth, it's just mere politics. Okay, and just over last night, we got the information that Wike, in quotes, is flirting with Tinubu.
Yeah.
Okay, that they traveled to the UK, to London. At first, the news came that they went to France. Then France, the news is now so strong that they went to London to discuss how they can work together. Okay, a whole lot of details from there, but let me come from let's say a mid-tempo zone right now, because the question now is, why would they be having all these meetings outside the country? You ask. Is it that Nigeria is more like second fiddle, more like they can't just have a particular will I say strategy meeting in the country, why must they travel out? You ask. That's to tell you, and if you check very well, these funds that they spend traveling out, especially the government official, is under the purse of the government, either state or federal.
True.
Okay, that aside, well, the information coming is that the governor of Benue State, Otom, the governor of Abia State, the special governor of Abia State, went to London with Wike. And you laugh about this when you see some governors in quote making this kind of trips, and in their state they are more like will I say watch nights, doing nothing.
Yeah.
Literally nothing.
Yeah.
Benue State, yes, it's a PDP state. Unfortunately for Benue State, I think the governor lacks ideas, because the rate at which they don't pay salary in Benue State is so alarming. He came in to say, sorry, I'm taking a big back.
No.
But why I'm pulling out these points is that, see, these people have forgotten the primary reason why they were voted in power. They just make unnecessary trips, because for me, this is unnecessary, because it is not under their period of leave. They just jet out of the country anyhow, and then they come back, and nobody is there to question them. Their House of Assembly members will never question them on these matters.
Because they are all loyal to the governors. You know.
Rubber
stamped House of Assemblies.
So, the top news now is that Wike might be joining the APC.
That would be the biggest joke of the century for me. Because,
Why?
I mean, Wike has been too critical of the APC, especially in Rivers State here. I'm not talking about the federal level, because I've not heard him talk, to the APC at the federal level. But in Rivers State, Wike puts out this picture of the more like for him to go to APC, let him die.
Well, politics is a game of interest. Okay? And when you take a closer look at it, from the analytical point of view, you find out that, see, if you check from the PDP, it's looking like they cannot come together anymore. Because it's taking ages for them to mend their grievances. But if you check from the APC, what is happening right now, it seems that the APC are really about Wike. They want him to come and join their fold. From Bajabiamila coming to Rivers State, that's the Federal House of Representatives Speaker, to the governor of Ekiti State,
Then Lagos State.
Lagos State, Babajide
Sanwo-Olu,
coming to Rivers State. You find out that they've been pressing, and even they work together with Fayose, who is an ally of Governor Wike. Then you ask, why are they really coming for Wike? Why do they want him to join their fold? Because politics also, aside interest, it is a game of numbers. Wike has shown in different elections that the PDP is strong. And the people, we can't take it away from the people, love Wike.
They love him.
There's a special love from Rivers people for Wike. So you now check, if you go back to history, you find out that in 2015, Mr. Bule, the PDP won convincingly during the election. When the PDP scored, in fact, let me even take you back to 2011. In 2011, the PDP won with 1.3 million votes against, back then it was CPC. CPC had about 200,000 votes. Then in 2015, they won with 1.4 million votes against the APC's 70,000 votes. APC had 70,000 votes in 2015.
Yeah.
But then in 2019, when we started feeling the impact of INEC doing a proper job, the numbers came down to about 493,000, just almost 500k votes for the PDP.
Yeah.
Then the APC scored about 150,000 votes. Well, you know now, 2015 and 2019, it makes a whole lot of difference with the electoral process.
True.
Whereby INEC also came in to, well, I say, reduce the level of rigging. If you add the numbers, you will know that, see, if the PDP really won the election of 2015 with 1.4 million votes, why didn't they get around that range in 2019? But it dropped drastically. So you also now question yourself, what also happened that when you collate both numbers from 2015, the total voters that voted in 2015 and 2019, it is over 50% different. And you now ask, what then happens? My brother, personally, I think the numbers were padded when they had the opportunity back then. But now, I also tell you that in the next election, I just pray that people will come out to vote. We will also see, I believe that there will be a whole lot of improvement. Our votes shall count. I'm talking to our viewers. The votes shall count. With the way the Ekiti State election went through, the Osun State went through, I'm very, very positive about that. So now, if you go by the numbers, further that APC, they really want to win the mind of Wike. And you know, this is more like the effect of Wike will spread aloud in different zones in the south. It will spread to Akwa Ibom, it will spread to Bayelsa that APC is close. And when if APC captures Rivers State, my brother, the south will go down for the APC.
Let's not also forget, remember that even in Bayelsa State, the APC actually won the election overwhelmingly. But the court is what brought back the PDP. So you see, they are doing everything to take over the south. And to think that the PDP is undermining the person of Wike, a man that has that level of influence. I keep saying it, that he sure has that influence. Whether people like Lamido comes out to say things that he's not really... I see that statement as very, very harsh and not well thought out. You don't say things like this at a time where they are trying to rally around this fellow and say, okay, let's resolve. Because right now, they are yet to resolve their house here in the south and southeast. He has a hold of the south, south, and southeast. Why play with such a person? And I've always asked this question. Why is it that they cannot sacrifice everything to get to the seat of power if it means anything to them? Why are they, trying to show pride in doing these things? Does it tell us something about this man, Atiku? Is it saying something about the person that he is, that he cannot humble himself to really sacrifice everything to get to that place? So all the talks about, I want Nigeria to be, what does all of this action? These are things that people should be looking at.
And yes, sir. Then when you see the mantra that Atiku is going with, unifying the country, unifying the nation. If you cannot unify
by simply unifying his
house, it's a little problem.
I mean, crisis will always come up.
Yes.
And that's what we are built for, to manage this kind of situations every time. So the party, okay, the man is saying, now Lamido says, we didn't wrong him. Nobody wronged him. But the guy is saying that, he now refers to people in the PDP as enemies.
Yes.
I mean, look at the fight he started here in Rivers State against people that are already having meetings with Atiku. He has started a war with them. These are his brothers. But he has gone all out, and he has even said it that if anybody from his camp continues to rub shoulder with his enemies, he will first of all deal with the enemy inside before he goes out. So maybe they are not listening to his utterances. He is not joking. He has never been a joker. I mean, living here under his administration for the 8 years, I've never seen Wike say, I will, and then he goes about to not do. He will go ahead to do that thing. Even as much as firing his very close ally, I'm talking about the Rwama boss that used to be his very close friend. If you look at the 2019 elections, 2015, this is one of the people that really walked underground to put him in office. But in the course of his administration, he dropped him at some point because he said, you're trying to spoil my name in this town that I'm trying to really redeem. So that is the kind of man they are dealing with. So maybe they don't know. They need to go and find out and resolve this matter. So they live in Abuja. He says he doesn't even go to Abuja except for a meeting for a day or two. So they live in Abuja. They stay up there. They don't understand how the man works on the ground.
He's on the ground.
They need to come down here and understand that the guy has, when he says I have River State.
And he does.
He does.
Now, when you also, check out himself as in Wike versus Amechi, you find out that Amechi is not even on ground.
He's not. He's not. And these are people, these are the people that I want to contest with in a few months' time. The guy is already building his map, drawing out his map on how this is going to succeed. He's bringing a successor that is from the PDP. The other guys are flying everywhere.
And since Amechi lost the primary, he's been lukewarm.
Yes, very, very. Unfortunately, he has been very quiet. I don't know what's happening to him, but I guess that really got to him very badly. I've seen him once or twice on TV, but he has been so quiet. Yeah, and Wike was almost like that for some time, but he bounced back, and he's been everywhere and trying to continue to show his relevance in the political scene, which is something that everybody is very, amazed of. And I also see that if the PDP really doesn't put their house together, it's going to cost them. It's going to cost them. And again, when you said that the Wike might move to the APC based on the moves they are making, well, that will be the rudest shock in the whole world.
It might backfire because what also happens to his candidate.
That you see. So all of that are some of the things.
Happens to his candidate?
Those are some of the things that, some of the pointers to the fact that he may never move. He might still be in the PDP. But I said at one point that he might be in the PDP and not also work for the PDP.
Yes.
So that's a possibility. So if they continue to spite him, as they are doing with this kind of insensitive comment, the guy might just be there and be neither here nor there for them. Or even be anti-party. Somebody has already accused him of being anti-party by having meetings with, other party. It's clear that he's already anti-party. How can he be having meetings with PDP, running around with APC members here and the APC leaders? That's already anti-party activity. So he has been accused of that, even though we haven't seen any clear evidence that, oh yes, he's working against the PDP. But with this kind of meetings, man.
And Wike, just for the last time, you check out that Wike is a strong force, because if he's not a strong force, by now, the party would have they would have sent him away.
They would have ignored him now.
On the part that he has been doing some
anti-party. Well, none of them. Practices. No. The accusation of him being anti-party came from the APC side. Somebody, Chris Feinbone to be precise, is the one that accused Wike of doing so. But looking at the PDP members themselves, they haven't been able to come out to say, hey, you are having anti-party activity.
Even the Feinbone has even joined the PDP.
Oh, he has,
say that he cannot work against his brother, which is a Simi.
Yes.
My brother, politics.
Yes, like you said, 1 minute they are saying this, another minute they are saying another thing. But yes, even at that, if Wike moves to the APC, I will really be in huge shock. And that would be, for me, that would be the biggest shock in politics in Nigeria for me. And with that, I can now clearly say that politicians can never be trusted. Oh yes. All right, moving on, we'll go on to our next paper, and that will be the Vanguard. And on Vanguard newspaper here, we see these headlines. It says, terrorism, surrender arms publicly. Zamfara panel tells bandit leader Bello Turji. All right, then we move on. It says here, as the major headline, 2023, Tinubu meets Wike, 2 PDP governors in London. 6 horse trading to work against Atiku. Wike playing anti-party politics, ex-VP's camp. Says Wike can't kill PDP. Rivers governor's man dumps PDP, moves to APC. Board of Trustees receive reconciliation panel report today. Chairman, Secretary, Deputy, National Chairman may lose seats. That's all talking about the house of PDP, just like we have analyzed a few minutes ago. Also, we see here on the Vanguard, prosecution high-profile sponsors of electoral offenses. Prosecute high-profile sponsors of electoral offenses. INEC. Prosecute high-profile sponsors of electoral offenses. INEC speaking there, and details of that story you find on page 9 of the Vanguard newspaper. We also see here, Nigeria Ports Authority drives forex earnings with 10 export terminals. Also, at the very bottom part, we see a federal government U.S. sign agreement for return of fresh $23.4 million Abacha loot. All right. Muslim ticket. I don't care if president, VP are of same religion. Soyinka speaking, and you find details of that story on page 9 of the Vanguard newspaper. All right. Even though we've spoken about the Tinubu story here, Tinubu meeting Wike, is there any story you want to react to here?
Okay, the electoral offenders case.
All right.
Okay, so now there is a proposal that we might just be having a electoral offenders commission.
Yeah.
Okay, what would that help the country in terms of elections? You find out that Nigerians they feel that there should be need for a commission to prosecute riggers and people that snatch ballot boxes.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you check by the numbers, there is a strong issue right now because since 2015, about 125 cases has been there, but only 60 has been convicted. 2015. You can't tell me that since 2015 that we should not be having about, if not 5,000 cases, because it happens everywhere.
Yeah.
So, just 60 convictions since 2015 up till now. So, what are they bringing to the floor of the House? They are saying that, see, for ballot snatching, they should pay, as an offender should pay 40 million naira or face over 15 years in jail. Okay, but some, will I say, some opposition persons are coming out to say, see, that is a whole lot of punishment for such acts. What about other acts that people do and they slap them on the wrist? Okay, so but I think they should go back personally. I think they should go back to the drawing board and re-strategize. Personally, I think it's too much. 15 years when you did not. Man, that's just my point. Now, when you did not even steal, people steal hundreds and billions of naira.
They don't
and
even
they
get
just get
up
like
to
5
10,
years.
they don't get up to 10 years, yeah.
You get, why don't you do a swap? Okay? You steal from the coffers of the government, you do 15 years. Okay? And well, 40 million will depend on the kind of crime. You don't steal 1 billion naira.
And they say you paid 40 million. Because that would be very easy. That would be a walkover. No. I think it's a brilliant idea to have a tribunal or a panel of, like a panel that will prosecute these people. It's a brilliant idea from INEC because we've seen it happen time and time and over again where, these electoral offenses, people go unpunished. People are arrested. They arrest offenders on that day. And a few weeks later, police collect money and release them because nobody's coming to prosecute them, right? So, yes, you mentioned some cases from 2015 or so till now, and that has actually been successfully prosecuted by INEC. Some of them are in jail or some of them have paid fines and all of those. But we need to see more. Recently at the Osun State elections where there was a lot of vote buying, and people were arrested. Questions were being asked, what happens to these people? Do you just arrest them and their masters, their paymasters come to release them with some, paltry sums being paid to the police people and they are let go? So actually, it's a brilliant idea to have a prosecution panel that will actually, yes, send offenders to jail either for 3 years, but actually, I personally agree with you too. 15 years is a lot for those things. But if you look at it from another angle, what these people are doing is actually hampering, these crimes are actually geared towards hampering the decision of well-meaning Nigerians, where you mean well, you want us to act, you are making the right decision as to what you think it's your own strong opinions and belief, whereas somebody else is forcefully, stopping your power and your will to make that decision by force. And so if you look at it, they are also more like they can be referred to as rapists. They can be referred to as murderers in some cases. For them, like for instance, you want to vote for the PDP, you believe so much in the PDP, and then suddenly somebody steals your vote, your will to come out on that day where some people are sleeping at home, You have come and stayed in the sun and you casted your vote and nobody steals it and decides to put whoever they like. I mean, we're in that position because of those kind of people. You want to add something?
Yes, but I still have some issues with having a new commission to prosecute and investigate
Electoral
electoral
offenders.
offenders. Now, mind you, we still have the ICPC,
Okay.
we have the AFCC.
But these guys have been inactive.
Okay, follow what then happens, mobilize them, give them targets, push them. You still have the INEC that prosecutes and investigates. Now, why do I say that? Because we have these bodies already. Why now bring in another body?
So why don't they use them?
We are trying to manage our resources. Mind you, our recurrent expenditure has gone so high that it's affecting the capital expenditure. Now, you remember that election comes only in many cases once in 4 years. So what will they now be doing? They will now, you go to their office, they will be chewing gum and putting their legs
collecting salaries
and
every
collecting
month.
salaries. Are you getting that side? And when you also look at it from when the laws have mobilized INEC, ICPC, EFCC to do this, why then bring in another commission? No two ways about it. It is very, very important that we look critically into this, because even the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Agbe, came out to say, see, we are these old electoral offenders. They are the ones putting in riggers as our leaders. And when you go out to check out these riggers, when you get there in the seat of power, they don't have ideas. They have nothing to give to the people than to find ways to collect back their monies. So I think they should look into it.
Yes, I totally agree. They should. It's a brilliant angle you came from right there, where, what would these people be doing after the elections are over? Maybe it takes a year, post-election to pursue some cases and all of that. Afterwards, what happened? They relax until the next election. So yes, those are some of the things they need to keep working on and review properly before they decide whether they really want to form this body or they're going to work with the existing ones to deal with this matter. But bottom line is that we need to prosecute election offenders to deter people from towing that path. INEC has done a great job with coming up with the electronic transmission of voting, but we know that people are working day and night to bypass this, right? They're working day and night to bypass it. So while they are doing so, we also need to be proactive as to finding, proper punishment for people that will be, involved in such acts. So it's a brilliant one coming from INEC. All right, we move on to our last paper for today. Yes. And that will be the Daily Sun newspaper. And on the Daily Sun here, we see Ipob goes after kidnappers of 4 Reverend sisters as abductees regain freedom. Details of that's on page 4 of the Daily Sun newspaper. Fake news, misinformation, exacerbating insecurity, federal government. Page 27 is where you find details of that story. Also, as the major headline here on Daily Sun, we see ballot snatchers, vote buyers risk 15 years jail terms as reps move against electoral offenders. INEC seeks clampdown on sponsors. Details of all of this story you find on page 6 of the Daily Sun newspaper. Also here on the Daily Sun, we see Buhari reiterates commitment to tackle banditry, terrorism. Details is on page 6 and 29 of the Daily Sun newspaper. Also under that very one, you see Buhari vows to resist attempt to undermine football. All right. Other headlines here on the Daily Sun, we see here PDP Board of Trustee Chairman insists Ayu should go. Wike can't decide Rivers votes. Lamido speaking there. All right. And we see somewhere here, insecurity. Governor warns election may not hold in some northwest states. You will find details of that on page 26 of the Daily Sun newspaper. All right, Mr. Victor, I'll come back to you again. I don't even know which of the headlines to take on this paper because we practically
when I got the news about the references that were released, I got so happy and I really praise God with respect to that. And the Ipob on their own said they want to go after these criminals, okay? And I just pray that it goes well for them.
Yeah.
And I hope we don't hear tomorrow that ESN has killed civilians or UGM has killed civilians or that or that. So let them just, I just pray that this ends well. But you also go to the other side, you find out that, see, why is it that most times in the news, like it's a weekly thing now that clerics, Christian leaders are being looked at for. Look at what happened Ogun Church massacre. Look at the Methodist prelate that was kidnapped along Port Harcourt Turkey axis.
Same in Imo State.
Okay.
Imo State has been very hot.
But if you ask me, I think the prelate, the Methodist prelate that was kidnapped, that the fact that they paid that 100 million, I think.
Okay, that may have,
incited them,
yes,
that they now went
okay, so the church has this kind of money to pay and release this
and
man,
within 48 hours,
right.
The church, they were able to gather the money and pay. And an incident like that also happened in Enugu, and they were able to pay 50 million. They gathered the money.
So these guys have suddenly become the new target.
So now look at what they even do. They do not now go to the churches in the main city. They go to the rural area
and kidnap
them, knowing that the diocese, that the church that is umbrella is under the umbrella. they will announce it, and they find ways to settle them. But the government needs to do something about this.
It looks like this is all a game of criminals trying to make money. It's now become a business to kidnap this, these reverend fathers and sisters. It's unfortunate that they have told, or they have gone so low to that level of these people don't have money as I know them. They are workers in the church. They don't have money to like politicians. Why aren't they targeting politicians?
Because politicians have their escorts all over there.
So they should go out and stick their neck now. It's a game of risk. Why kidnap people that are unarmed and are very frail, people that cannot really fight back? You are the big boss. Go for the people that are ready for you now. Well, that's all we'll be taking today, Mr. Victor. I want to thank you so much for your contributions. And to our viewers, don't forget that you can also be a part of this by dropping your comments and your reactions on the comment section. Would love to hear what you think about the headlines and topics we've discussed today. All right, that's all we'll be taking today. My name is William Sabule. Join us on all our social media platforms on Facebook, Instagram, and on Twitter. And of course, here on YouTube, you need to subscribe by clicking on the subscribe key. Don't forget to also click on your notification. That's how you get notified whenever we come up with a new episode of the program. Till next time, I'll see you. Stay safe and stay well out there.